This is McCook's Mr. Bill. It's an honor to have you here on Don's 52 channel. I just get home, middle of the night, from making my donuts and rolls for the bakery down there at Saintert's. And I'm here to tell you, though, you're here for a story. Well, I'm not going to disappoint you. In fact, I'm not going to give you one story. I'll give you two. I said two. So what happens when the lights go out? In the middle of the winter, we're seeing a lot of power outages. Upwards of 1 million people might have no power. Now, yeah, they can light up their room and their life with a single candle. They've been doing it for 10,000 years. But we have improved on that. I said we've improved on it. Here's an Express Camp 200 light. Takes 3 D batteries. I said 3. And it has the capability of the handle, and it can also take it off and use it as a flashlight. Multiple uses, multiple capabilities for a light that will last a long time. Full power, 230 lumina. Now that's some power, I'm here to tell you. And that will last 50 hours. I said 50 hours with those 3 D batteries. Or if you go to the low setting, which is just 15 lumina, it will last 200 hours. I keep a dozen batteries in reserve, and so that means I have either 800 hours of low light, or I have 50 hours times the 4. That's 200 hours total power in high beam capabilities. This is a light I think you ought to own. It has the capability to hang it here, and it can also be hung on the bottom. 2 capabilities, both low profile, easy to pack away and store. Well worth it. Plus it comes with a secondary hook that can hang it from a very large limb or wherever you might need to be done. This is a light I think you should own. And that is my first story. One of the things I try to do whenever possible is to learn from what other people have done, be it successful or failures. For example, when we was first married back in 1973, my wife and I, it was a terrible storm. It's just storm after storm from 73-74 winter. And one of those storms was a terrible blizzard. Now, it kind of went further south into Kansas than it did up here in Nebraska, but we still got it pretty bad up here. But down there on Kansas Interstate, a young couple was headed back to Colorado Springs, the Air Force Academy. And that young couple, they were driving a 4-wheel drive. So their parents really didn't worry about them because 4-wheel drive they felt was pretty safe. Nor did they, or had they educated their young people about different survival skills. Nor did they load their vehicle with any extra safety equipment. And of course back then, the most they might have had would be a CB radio. And of course, they was lucky to get just a few miles communication with that. So, as they went through the blizzard, headed for Colorado, they ran off the road. And there they were stranded. And that night, the young man and the young woman froze to death in that 4-wheel drive. They froze to death. Road crew came the next morning and found them dead. Road crew went on down maybe another mile or so, and there was a van that also ran off the road. And as they walked up to the van expecting to find a dead person or multiple dead people in there froze to death as well, they opened up the door, and out from a sleeping bag, a head stuck up, and the man said, "What do you want? What do you want?" Now I knew that man. He was part of our black powder club that would come up here and shoot with us. So he was a little bit on the survivalist side, if you will. But he had no heat in that van whatsoever, other than he had a heavy-duty sleeping bag. So he kept his clothes on, put his heavy coat on, and he crawled inside that sleeping bag, and he survived when other people didn't. And so My gift to you is to say that when people talk about putting a little blanket or something in their car, a little car blanket is a joke. I said this is a joke. It's nice to keep you slightly warm if the car's already running and you don't have any trouble. But what you really need in your car, for you, for the safety of your family, is a sleeping bag, or at least maybe even one for each person in there that you're going to be having. A good sleeping bag down to 10 degrees, maybe 0, will mean the difference between life and death on that day when everything goes wrong. So whether it's just the lights that go out and you need to have light for your home, or whether you need safety on the road, this is McCook's Mr. Bill saying, today is the time to start planning and be prepared. Rate this film.